Well, hello there, James. My name is James too, but you know what my friends call me? Captain Cribbage. I've known your Gramps for, I think, almost over 50 years. We met when we were both your age, almost. And we've been friends for that long, and that's pretty special. They call me Captain Cribbage because I'm the one that made it into a three-person game. Take a look. Every cribbage board ever made now has three tracks. So three people can play it. And I'm glad you're going to learn that, James. A lot of the three-person game is very much like the two-person game. It's the same scoring. You want to add up cards to 15 and to 31. You want to get runs, 3 or 4 or 5 cards in a row even. And all the scoring's the same. That's the same. When I came up with the game of cribbage, James, I decided that the maximum score you could ever get in one hand is 29. And you know what else I did just for fun? I made it so you cannot possibly score 19 points. Have your Gramps and Nana try and figure that one out. Just like in the two-person cribbage game, a 5 is the best card to have. It's really good because there's lots of cards that count 10. 10s, jacks, queens, kings. So 4 other cards and a 5 make 15 for 2. The other thing that's the same is you can make nice rhymes. 15 for 2 and the rest don't do. 15 for and the rest don't score. But you know what's kind of interesting, and maybe you and Gramps and Nana could help me out on this. I don't think anyone's ever come up with a good rhyme for triple run for 15 or double run of 16. Who can find a rhyme for those beautiful cards?
Hey. Okay.
Hey, and I also wanted to say that rhyme that's a really good one. It doesn't rhyme with Jasper. See Jasper? But by the way, don't you love it when you get a double run of 8? Ain't that great? That's a good rhyme, and 8 is a very good score. The other thing that's really fun about a three-person cribbage game, and it's really fun in a two-person cribbage game, is the skunk line. That's 31 points away from the finish line. And if you beat somebody by skunking them, it's a double shame. So the other thing that's the same in the three-person cribbage game as the two-person, I mentioned 5s are always great, but you want to try and save runs, and you want to hope for that cut card to fit with your hand. But if you don't have runs and you don't have cards that add up to 15, keep low cards, James. They're good for scoring points. So, I don't want to get ahead of myself here, James, because cribbage is the best two-person card game ever invented. I should know. But I've adapted it to a three-person game, public pressure. Anyways, there's sometimes that third person in the room that you want to involve in the game, but if you can, play 2 people. The biggest change in cribbage between a two-person game and a three-person game is that you only deal each player 5 cards instead of 6, which means that you only have 1 card to discard into the cribbage instead of 2. And that's bad. Now, it'd be like if somebody said, hey, do you want to go on a bike trail in the forest? Or hey, do you want to play baseball? Or hey, do you want to play road hockey? Or hey, how about some car racing videos? They're all good. But wouldn't it be great if somebody said you could do any one of those things? You'd have choice, and choice is good. I recommend bicycle brand cards. They're a little bit wider than your average deck. And if Gramps and Nana don't have a deck of these bicycle cards, call Captain Cribbage, and I'll send them to you by Amazon.
No.
There's one very important concept, James, that you need to know, and I'm glad you're learning it here from the horse's mouth. And back and forth, that's how cribbage works with 2 people. But in 3 persons, you have to go clockwise. Do you know what clockwise is, James? Clocks used to have arms. Like this clock here. Clockwise goes this way. The clockwise concept is great. Clockwise is good for tightening a screw, tightening the jar in the peanut butter, or tightening a nut on a bolt. It's also how you deal cribbage when there's 3 cards. It's clockwise, clockwise, clockwise. Always clockwise, James. Never forget the clockwise. Key. So now that you've dealt 5 cards clockwise to everybody. You ask the person behind the dealer, the person who dealt before, to cut the cards after you've dealt out the 5 cards and you've thrown 1 card into the cribbage. So James, the person behind the dealer cuts the cards, and what do you hope for? If you're the dealer, you always hope for a 5. Ooh, bad card, it's an ace. Aces are good in your hand, but not up here. James, did you catch the mistake I just made? You don't cut the card. You don't offer it behind the dealer to cut the cards until everyone's discarded 1 of their 5. Remember, I said it's not as good a game because there's not as much choice. But everyone throws a particular card away, and you've got 1 that you dealt off the top of the deck. Then you ask Jasper here, Jasper, would you cut the cards because you're behind the dealer? James, you're going to find playing 3-way cribbage so much fun. It's fun to have 2 people to play with rather than just 1. And I hope you have all the success in the world. And that's coming from Captain Cribbage.